Salve a tutti. Vi ricordate che tanti anni fa noi chiedevamo spesso ai nostri genitori: mamma, ma come nascono i bambini? Chi li porta? E ci dicevano: li porta la cicogna. Oppure mi ricordo mio marito dice che sua mamma gli disse: no, noi ti abbiamo trovato sotto un cavolo cappuccio. E conseguentemente, se queste erano le cose in cui noi credevamo, che ci venivano dette, ovviamente le nostre madri, le nostre nonne, le bisnonne ci avevano concepito così per opera e virtù dello Spirito Santo, come la Madonna con Gesù, ovviamente, vero? Ecco, questo è l'argomento di cui parleremo oggi. 8 Ways My Mother Was Conceived. È una commedia scritta e interpretata da sola dall'attrice, dall'artista venuta da Montreal, artista italo-canadese, Michaela Di Cesare, che è proprio qui con noi e vogliamo chiederle di parlarci di questa commedia. Hello, Michaela.
Hi.
Michaela,
Yes.
And welcome to Tele 30.
Thank you for having me.
So you have written this comedy, and what is it about? Why did you write it?
Why is a good question. I ask myself
Yes.
that a lot. So it's called 8 Ways My Mother Was Conceived,
Yes.
as you said, and it has to do with this myth, this legend, this belief, I don't know what you want to call it, that has been passed down in my family, that my mother was in fact born of a virgin. Because, yeah, right? Like, it sounds familiar, right? I think it's the Jesus story.
This is the story they told you?
They would tell the story because when my mother was born in Calabria,
Yeah.
or when she was conceived, her parents were not married. So, of course, there could not have been any
what a disaster it was
physical
then, right?
contact. No, but I mean, there's just no other possible way. So obviously, it was a miracle of God, and it was celebrated as such. And it just came, and the story came over to Canada, and people would tell it in my family all the time. And, you know, you're kind of just sitting there and thinking, yeah, sure, right. But I never really had a reason. And then I started acting, I started writing, I was studying theater in school. I never really had a reason to dramatize this. It was the farthest thing on my mind. And then the opportunity arose, and I said, now I'm going to write it. And I did.
8 ways.
8 ways.
Why 8 ways?
So, 8 ways.
Without really revealing everything,
Well,
of course.
Usually when you ask someone for a conception story, there's really only one way that you could think of. But not in my family. In my family, we have these 8 different ways that, as to how it could have happened without sex. So everyone has a different version of how this improbable conception might have happened. So we have different characters. I play 15 characters in the play.
Oh, 15.
And there are 8 characters who give an account as to how it happened. So that's where the 8 ways comes
Wow.
from.
I was reading that you go from the characters from the gynecologist's office. No, from the age you're 8 years old. And then, yes.
The play
progress.
travels quite a lot. It
Yes.
opens with my 8-year-old self. It opens in innocence and this child kind of just questioning the world, and it moves all the way forward in time to, I guess, the inciting incident for my character. What happens in the play is that her first and better be last boyfriend breaks up with her.
Oh.
So of course her family starts the whole Italian thing starts happening with, what's going to happen to you now? You're ruined. No one will marry you. And my character kind of goes, well, wait a minute. There's this whole premarital pregnancy story, and everyone's kind of like, no, there isn't. And so that's where then my character kind of goes off on this, tangent about, I'm going to find out how this conception actually happened, and that's where things go.
Yes, of course. And you are going to be performing in Ottawa.
Yes.
At the Gladstone Theatre from the 19th of November
Yes.
until the 23rd.
Yes.
Ok, then I'll tell you, vi dirò tutti i dettagli alla fine dell'intervista, va bene? Yes, okay, so you took theater drama at school, and
Yes.
not only at school. You went to university.
Yes.
You have a master
I have a
in
master's,
theater,
yes, in theater.
and from the University of Toronto. And you also have a BA in
Yes.
creative writing and
Theater, yeah,
and
from
theater.
Concordia University.
So you must have had theater in you ever since you were little.
You know, I think I like to call it the only child syndrome. It's the only thing I can explain. I was an only child growing up, and I think I had to like invent a lot of my own fun or create it. And I was always surrounded by adults since I didn't have siblings. So I think part of it was just, you know, the kid deciding to put on a show or tell a story, and also anyone who's met my mother would understand where that inclination comes from, because with my mom everything's a story. And so anything that happens to her, from going to the grocery store to parking her car, there's a story to be told behind it. So I think
You take after
it
her.
comes from there. Yeah.
So she could have been an actress too.
She definitely.
She is.
You know what? She is, in her own way, in her everyday life. My mom runs a deli that her parents opened. It's been around for nearly 40 years in Montreal. And when I see her interacting with customers, I think, well, that's no different from acting. She's doing a better job than me, actually.
And she's loving it.
And
obviously,
she is, yeah. So
entertaining clients,
Exactly.
which is very important. So they keep coming back and coming back.
Exactly. It's a big job.
Yes.
People don't realize.
Now, I know you won some awards for this.
I
you?
did, yes.
When did you write this play? It's a comedy, isn't it?
It's, you know, it's very funny, and off the bat, I think that's what it would be classified as, but I hesitate because there's some very dark moments in it, and it's one of those plays where people, and I don't want to give too much away, but people are laughing uncontrollably, and then the next minute, the entire audience is in tears, and I don't want to say why, but it's got a little bit of an edge to it, and it goes somewhere pretty dark. So anyways, that's around comedy, just to clarify that. But I started writing it nearly 4 years ago. It's been touring for 3 years. It was actually my thesis project, or the project I worked on while I was at the University of Toronto doing my master's. So that's where it was created. And I've been working on it ever since.
And, well, did it take you, you said 4 years, but
it didn't take me 4 years to write it, though. I mean, I wrote it 4 years ago.
Okay.
It came out of me in exactly 2 weeks.
Because this is what I was going to ask, yes.
Yeah.
Usually when you have something to say, you can't just do it with a, with a dropper. No.
Well, everyone has a different process, but for me, the minute there was that big inciting incident, it was the breakup moment. This was very much
You sit down and
locking myself in my room and writing this play, and it took exactly 2 weeks. So you have you've acted on television as well. Yes.
And what about the big screen?
The big
in
screen,
movies?
not Hollywood yet, not just yet, but if Hollywood's watching, no. But I've done a lot of independent films in Montreal, feature-length films. I was acting before I was writing. I don't even know if that's true as I say it, because I wrote a lot as a kid. But professionally speaking, I was acting before I was writing.
So you think you would like to continue acting as well? No.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe acting more than writing?
No.
Right? No?
People are always forever asking me to choose, and I always get this kind of like, sometimes this snarky attitude where it's like, well, you can't be both. You must be one or the other more. But I have a hard time with that, because I don't feel that way, and I think that especially this being a one-woman show, it speaks to exactly how I started performing, and it's really that storytelling tradition. Back in the day, storytellers would stand up in front of their village and perform a story, and they were both, you know, the creators of the story and the performers of it. And I feel like that's a tradition that I don't know why we've decided needs to be divorced in modern art and theater, but I don't think it does at all. And I mean, even when we look to the commedia tradition, the actors were improvising, so a lot of the text
Commedia dell'arte.
Yes, actually came from them, and I'm a big fan of the Commedia dell'arte tradition, and Isabella Andreini is actually my idol, and she was the prima donna, the most famous prima donna, and she wrote what she performed, so I think that there are some big shoes to fill.
Well, I mean, you're very ambitious because usually being able to act, that's pretty good by itself. You know, you want to do both of them, and that's great. That is great.
I will keep
yes.
trying as long as I can. Yeah.
I was reading some of the reviews on this play that you have written, and they were all very good. So you must really feel good about yourself.
You know what? It's always that voice in the back of your head that doesn't let you believe any of it. But thank God I have people around me to read the good reviews and believe them, like my mom and my husband and my director, the director of the show. I love Tamara. She's amazing. They're just always beating it into me that it's like you have to take these words for fact, because if it was just up to me, I would dismiss every good review because I just like constantly self-debasing.
Well, I can understand that. I think a lot of us are like that. Nothing can ever be, there is nothing that we can really do well as far as we're concerned. We're very critical.
And
you're a perfectionist. You're a perfectionist.
And it's so difficult because you're making yourself so vulnerable, especially with something like this where you've written it and you're performing it and it's autobiographical. So just your entire self is on the line.
Exactly.
So it's really difficult to be in that position.
Pardon me, a while ago you said your husband.
Yes.
You are so young. I didn't even think you were
I know.
married.
And here I was talking about that whole breakup thing, and there's a happy ending to this play. I should tell people that. You might cry in the middle, but there's a happy ending.
Yeah, but don't say anymore. Don't say anymore.
I
How
won't.
long does it last?
My marriage? The play, you mean?
Okay.
It's 80 minutes, an hour 20.
Okay, that's pretty long for one person,
Yes.
for a recital.
It's a little bit of a
A
marathon
solo.
for me, yeah.
Great. So, what are your projects for the future? What, although we did say that you would like to write again and act again, but do you have any particular projects that are more concrete, tangible right now?
Yes, I actually have a play opening in Montreal, a French play, my first time working in the French language, that's opening a few days from now on November 5th. So I'm working on that. Then I'm leaving on this tour with this show, but I'm also, I'm in residence, or I'm in a mentorship at Black Theatre Workshop in Montreal. So we are creating work while we're there, and I'm working on writing a play with them. And we'll probably be acting in something in the spring. So yeah, there's a lot of projects.
Is there anything else that you would like to say about your play?
Well, I really hope that people in Ottawa will come see it.
Of course.
I really hope that the Italian community is interested and, you know, willing to show their support, because in Montreal I've got connections in the Italian community, but here I don't. So please come out.
Well, yeah, we'll do our best to have a lot of people coming to see you, because I, for one, would like to come. I'm very curious to see, very curious to see what you've got to say.
Oh, well, thank you.
What are the 8 different ways
What
your
could they
mother was...
possibly be? Yeah. Well, thank you.
And so, okay, there's going to be a show, a preview on Tuesday, the 19th. And I guess they're all pretty well at 7:30 in the evening.
Yes.
Okay. The French show that you're going to be doing on the 5th of November, what's it called? What is the name?
It's called L'Entente.
Longtemps?
Yeah, L'Entente. And it's going to be at a theater that we call Espace Berry, or Espace 4001 in Montreal. Yeah, so that's running from November 5th to the 10th, if anyone wanted to take a French cultural trip to Montreal.
Yeah, and this is, have you written that too?
No, these are, because I've been, that's why when we talk about what's next, it gets a little muddy, because I've been consistently working in other things, even during the 3 years that this has been going on. So, you know, this thing is just one of my acting contracts, and yeah, so I haven't written and performed anything else since that I wrote.
Oh, well, you've got the whole life in front of you.
I do. I'm looking forward to it.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Oh, well, thank you.
I thank you very much for being with us tonight and today, telling us all about your play. And I'm sure you're terrific in it. If I have to go by the reviews that I've read, I'm sure you're terrific. And then, of course, it comes from within, because it's, as you said, biographical.
Yes, it's,
Yes.
it's super personal, so the connection
Yes.
is really strong. I think it's something for an audience to see somebody be so open about things that are so very private. As you mentioned before, you brought up a gynecologist. There's a gynecologist office scene, so it doesn't get more private than that.
No, exactly. But it's great that, you know, so many years ago, everybody was closed, minds were closed, and there's so much that a woman could not do. I mean, things have changed for us women in the past 50 or 60 years.
Yes. And I mean, that is one of the big overreaching themes of the play. It really has to do with the way girls and women are treated, specifically in our culture, but also in so many others. And it just speaks to women finding their own voice.
Yes, yes. I was going to go on to another subject. How do you feel about these baby children brides in Syria? Isn't it awful? Isn't that a different culture? But of course, it's going away from the subject.
Well, you know, I think we can say it's a different culture or a different subject, but I don't know if it is, because really my play speaks about a cultural obsession with female virginity. And it really is that idea of women having to either be the virgin or the whore. I don't know if I could say that. But that dichotomy, and it speaks to that. And I mean, if a woman is completely desexualized in her culture and is made to be this kind of like wife and mother first and not a sexual being, and all of that and the pressures that come onto girls, the play explores that. If we're talking about that, I don't see how much farther away we are from fetishizing girlhood in a way. So I don't think that our culture is you know, much more innocent than any other that has oppressed women. I think it's less spoken of, but I think Italians, and Southern Italians especially, where I'm coming from, have had very weird and skewed perspectives on women for a very long time. So my play is speaking to that, and I think that it really does, you know, make bridges with other cultures, because I actually did a reading of this play for the Afghan Women's Association in Montreal on Women's Day last year, and there were these girls who were 16, 17 years old, recent immigrants from Afghanistan, and they came up to me and they said, "Thank you for talking about something that we feel like we can't just yet," but that, and I was shocked that they felt that there was a similarity, and that's when I realized.
Right, right. Yeah, it's so sad. Well, I was talking about these brides of 8, 9 years old, which is really. Anyhow, let's
it's completely. I mean,
yes.
That's exactly why this play is topical right now. Things that are being done to women. You can look at this and see it as a comedy, but I'm talking about all of this, and I'm talking about women's rights.
So
and
there
girls'
is a
rights.
moral to your story. Definitely, there's a moral.
There's
It makes you think. And this is great.
There's a statement being made, and
yes.
Definitely. If you want to know what I think about the child brides, I don't even have the words. And having written, I don't even have the words.
Yes, it's one of the words anyway. Anyhow, I thank you for being with us,
Michaela.
Thank
you so much for having me.
And I wish you the best of success in Ottawa, and I'm sure you will have it.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody will love you.
Thank you. Oh, I can't wait for this love to be showered on me.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
E grazie per averci ascoltate, e mi raccomando, andiamo a vedere questa bella ragazzina. In 8 Ways My Mother Was Conceived. Arrivederci.
Let's see. What can I tell you about this show? Well, I'll start by telling you what this show is not. It's not about self-therapy. It's not all about me. It really is, you know, it's about my mom. I mean, okay, I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't hard growing up with the Messiah for a mother. It was really hard. I mean, she couldn't even give me a bath as a child. Whenever she touched the water, it would just turn to wine, and then I'd get all sticky and sometimes a little drunk. If ever the kids were picking on me at school, she'd always tell me to turn the other cheek, so then I'd get beat up twice.
Well, I think that the hardest part really is just not being able to live up to her expectations. I tried to perform miracles. I really did, but I'm just not good at it like her. It's a real problem that my mom is magic and stuff. I don't know what she wants from me. What more can I do? Can I make miracles? Well, yes I can. I'm talking stupid. I don't talk to nobody. Me? I'm offended. I lose my shoes a lot, and I try to lie to her about it, but she knows everything. Because I was born of a virgin. Because it's so complicated. I'm not God's chosen one. She is.